Welcome to SVG-TV News for Wednesday, January 18, 2017. I am Rochelle Batiste with the details. With preparations being finalized for the official opening of the Argyle International Airport, Chief Executive Officer of the Tourism Authority, Glenn Beach, is appealing to persons to refrain from contacting operators of the Toronto-based Sunwing Airlines, which is expected to provide a charter flight to the AIA on opening day. Beach remarks came on Tuesday as he stressed on what he termed as exciting times ahead, noting this country is entering a new era. In a recent announcement, it was confirmed that 2 international chartered flights are scheduled to land at the AIA on opening day come February 14, 2017, Sunwing International and Caribbean Airlines CAL. On Tuesday, however, Beach pointed out that GG Tours, a Canadian-based company, is responsible for the ticket sales for the chartered flight coming out of Toronto, Canada.
We are working with a company out of Toronto called GG Tours. They're a tour operator. They have chartered the flight. They are the ones that will be selling the tickets. And our plan is that when GG Tours puts in the information into the system, that will be available to every tour operator and travel agent within Canada. So those of you who have family that wants to come home from Canada, you can let them know the name of the company is GG Tours. Please do not call them until you hear the announcement from us. Please. On February 14th, at the opening of Argyle International, I want us as a people to be proud.
Beach further appealed to persons to cease their attempts to contact operators of Sunwing to book flights, as they have indicated it have grown tiresome, especially when they are not the operating entity of the scheduled flights to SVG.
I know over the past few weeks since the announcement of the airport, we've been speaking about the charter flights that will be coming in on February 14th, Sunwing from Toronto and Pearson International, CAL, Caribbean Airlines from JFK in New York, and we're still looking at one from the United Kingdom. And I want to take this opportunity to really say this again. You are not going to find chartered flights on the listing of Sunwing or on the listing of CAL, because it is a chartered flight. So when I have people from Sunwing calling me, because Vincentians are calling them and keeping the operators from the call centers busy at the busiest time of the year for them, it can be annoying to them. And we've built a good relationship with Sunwing. There's some people that we would like to continue to speak to. Sunwing is not responsible for the charter, as I've said before.
Adding that the commencement of operations at the AIA opens up a market for phenomenal things that will put SVG on par with the international market. Beach said that the Vinci mass product will ultimately be greatly enhanced.
For the first time in our history, St. Vincent and the Grenadines will have an international airport. It opens up a lot for us to do. It opens up a completely different way of how we market the destination. We will now be able to work directly with the major airlines, something that we couldn't do before because we never had direct flights. This is a chance for us to even be better than good. It is a chance for us to be great, to carry Carnival to the next level, to carry a lot of our product, the product that is St. Vincent and the Grenadines, to the next level. And make no mistake that Carnival is part of the tourism product.
And shutting down skeptics who have been critical of the completion and operation of the Argyle International Airport, which is scheduled to be open on Valentine's Day, February 14, 2017. Minister of Transport and Works, Julian Francis, said it is important that persons realize the importance of the air facility to SVG. Francis, who was on his radio program Tuesday evening, admitted other countries throughout the world have had delays in the construction of their airports, and SVG, despite its limitations, has overcome some of these setbacks.
How long Trinidad won't take? Every time you pass through Barbados, they have to extend because they never finish theirs. Huh? Antigua won't take years, and that was an extension. We come from virgin earth, and build it right up to where it is today. When Chavez come here and Ralph show him where you want to put the airport, Chavez said, boy, you gotta be a crazy man. Well, the crazy man built it. It there, it finished. Jet landing on it on the 14th. Plane done land on it. Amerijet going land on it. American Airlines, all of them will come later on and land on it. JetBlue will land on it. Call the name of the airline. Sooner rather than later. I know you want to turn it wrong. Later rather than sooner. They come in to land on it because it has become a reality.
Francis outlined that the Director of Airports, Corsell Robinson, will be explaining soon more to the public about the licensing and other matters pertaining to the air facilities and closure of the E.T. Joshua Airport.
She will, over the next few days and upcoming periods, she will be on air, being interviewed and explaining the entire process as to how airports are approved and certified, where we are on that, what is our position, because you know a lot of people, especially when they want to cast doubts, don't want to hear it out of the mouths of politicians. So we take the public servant who interacts with ECA and ECA with ICAO and FAA and all the others. Our licensing authority is ECA. But Corsell Robinson is more equipped and better trained and learned in this area, and she will fill the voids and dispel the doubts from the doubting Thomases as to the reality of what is going to take place on February 14th.
And leader of the Democratic Republican Party, the DRP, Anicia Batiste, has expressed concern that the overall safety and operation of the soon-to-be-open Argyle International Airport is being compromised for partisan political reasons. Batiste, who is also a tourism expert, said on a local radio program last evening that she is pleased with the coming into existence of the International Air Facility, as it is a necessary component of the overall development of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. She, however, expressed the view that the national project is being utilized as a partisan political tool.
It's one thing to go and you see and it's lovely and you're happy and you're excited and you want to see it work and you want to see it succeed, but you have to take a sane approach in terms of assessing everything, and that's why I went about my research in terms of talking to persons and so on, and what I'm saying is based on what I have found thus far. We have to be mature and responsible in addressing the legitimate concerns that many have regarding the project's readiness for operationalization, as well as the destination's positioning in terms of tourism, agriculture, industry, to maximize the evident potential benefits from this major national project. And every time I listen to what is being said about the Argyle International Airport project and the whole discussion around it, it saddens my heart in a big way, because I realize that in a large way it has been reduced to partisan political throwing of thoughts and ideas, as opposed to really realizing, look, this is a national issue, this has a great potential, and we need to be mature at looking at what are the realities we face.
Batiste, who once served as a communication officer in the Ministry of Tourism, says there are also concerns surrounding staff preparedness for the actual operation of the air facility, particularly as it relates to airport security, which she says should meet international standards.
It's not like 100% complete. There's still works going on. But one would tell you that, for example, the officials, they tell you it's at least 90% complete, they would say. When you talk to people, when you talk to, for example, staff, when you investigate issues of readiness in terms of staffing, persons' certainty as to where they will be, the issue of training, still going on in my research, from what I have found out, I do have genuine concerns. I mean, I would have thought that at this stage, 3 weeks before the operationalization, that perhaps all training of important staff like security staff, airport security staff and so on would have been complete, and they would have been using these last moments to familiarize themselves with the environment, the new environment and the operation and things like that. But from my research, I have found that people are still being trained. Training, I was advised, up to today will continue into all the next month. Persons, there are legitimate concerns among human resources staff with respect to things like salaries.
With the groundbreaking ceremony of the Montwin Peters Hope Hotel project set for tomorrow, Thursday, January 19th, 2017, a representative of Pace Development Incorporated in Canada, Joseph Romano, believes that the coming of the Argyle International Airport is a key component of why his company chose SVG to invest. Speaking on a local radio program this morning, Romano said that the $7 million purchase of lands in the Peters Hope area will not infringe on the beach, which by law cannot be sold. He assured listeners and all Vincentians that his company, Pace Development Incorporated, is a reputable organization with close to 40 years in the construction and investment business. Romano further stated that his organization has enough equity to sustain the Montwin Peters Hope project, which could cost some $60 million to develop.
Well, with the launch of the new airport, I think that it's going to really take off internationally, and I think a lot of investment's going to come. So me being one of the first people to start a bigger hotel development with villas, I think it's a smart move. Okay. Business-wise. We have 37 acres on the ridge of Mount Wynn leading to the Peters Hope Beach. There's about 5 or 6 acres, I think it's 5.7 or 5.8 acres right on the corner of Peters Hope Beach, so it's not the entire beach. And we have the ridge that continues along to Mount Wynn Beach, but we don't have anything to do with Mount Wynn Beach. No, I think it's worth less than $7 million, but the government was very firm in their negotiations with us, and at the end of a lengthy negotiation process, we just want to get started breaking ground and start building.
Romano expressed his company's desire to purchase the recently closed Buckerman Bay Resort and said that his trip to St. Vincent could be a twofold investment deal.
I've expressed it in an indirect and informal way, correct?
And what sort of response you've got?
Well, I didn't get an official response. However, I think there's a lot of legal technicalities in the foreclosure or bankruptcy. I'm not sure what's going on. Right. So when that gets cleared up, I'm definitely going to put a bid in for it.
You're going to put a bid in for
Absolutely.
It? Along with Montwin Peters Hope?
Well, yeah, that's
separate. So you're interested in doing these two major developments here in the country?
Absolutely. And we've already gotten official word from redtag.ca that they would immediately fill Buckerman Bay up. Redtag.ca is a vacation package company in Canada. It's one of the largest in Canada, and they would easily fill up Buckerman Bay for us.
Wow.
Yeah, okay. Like starting as soon as we can get it.
Have you placed a timeline as to when you'll be interested in taking ownership of it?
I don't know the legal technicalities, but I'm going to look into it this trip for sure.
In other news, the SVG police force has made a big breakthrough in their effort to remove illegal firearms off the streets here. At a media conference earlier today, Commissioner of Police Renald Hathaway spoke of the discovery of high-powered weapons and ammunition during a search conducted in the Lomans Hill area. The commissioner noted that 2016 was a bad year in relation to crime, with 40 murders committed, with 28 of them through the use of firearms. Commissioner Hathaway noted that this latest finding forms part of the police force efforts in ensuring the safety of the Vincentian public.
As a result of our efforts in 2016, we would have removed 43 firearms off the streets. Clearly shows that the police is committed towards addressing the whole issue of crime and violence, and more specifically the issue relating to gun-related activities. 2017, thus far, fortunately enough, we would not have had any incident where anyone would have succumbed through the use of firearm, and we trust and hope that this can take us well into 2017. But it is not just that we are sitting and hoping, we are taking action. We have put in place strategies to address the whole issue that caused the nation in 2016 to be in a state of panic, so to speak, a fair concern for their safety, etc.
The police commissioner pointed out an issue of concern in relation to the discovery of ski masks during the search and stated some of the measures which will be implemented to remove these along with arms and ammunition from the streets.
What we would have recovered this morning: 1 submachine gun, 1 Glock, 1 .38 revolver, 1 round of AK ammunition, 14 rounds of Glock 40 ammunition, and 45 rounds of 9mm ammunition, as well as 2 ski masks. These masks are an issue of concern for us. All law enforcement authorities in St. Vincent are aware of the implications, and once they are discovered, action will be taken to remove them from wherever they are. Let's say, for example, they comes to custom and it is discovered, they will call us and we will remove them from there and have them in our custody. Incidentally, we know how porous the borders of St. Vincent and the Grenadines are, and it is believed that some of these things may be making their way through our porous borders.
Providing some details on one of the guns discovered today, that of a submachine gun. Commissioner Hadaway explained the deadly nature of the weapon whilst expressing alarm that persons in SVG were able to have in their possession such high-power weapon. He expressed relief that it has been removed from the streets.
This one that you see closest to me here, this is what is known as a submachine gun, and we refer to it commonly called an SMG. It is the most deadly of the weapons that is before us. It is an automatic weapon. And because I come from a weaponry background, so to speak, I can tell you a bit about this weapon. This weapon operates from what is known as an open bolt position. That is to say, as it is now, if you squeeze the trigger, nothing will happen, even though there's a magazine on the weapon. In order to activate it, the bolt must be to the rear, like that. Once you squeeze the trigger, and the magazine is in, and your finger is on the trigger, it takes all the rounds until you release the magazine. So it tells you this is a serious weapon that we have recovered off the street. It is really alarming to know that these weapons are in the hands of criminals out there.
Promises to be an unforgettable year of cultural activities. Vincy Mars 2017 will carry on with the absence of the Miss Carnival pageant. This announcement came on Tuesday evening with the launching of the 2017 poster and program of activities by the Carnival Development Corporation, stressing that this year's Carnival celebrations will see a great enhancement with the quality of events. Newly appointed Chairman Ricardo Adams said the board has taken a unified decision to cut ties with the pageant, at least for now, which will be replaced with a show as part of the 40th anniversary of the festival. Nolisha Miller has more in this report.
This year might be a disappointing one for pageant fanatics, as the Carnival Development Corporation on Tuesday announced that the Miss Carnival pageant will not be on the program of activities for Vincy Mars 2017. The announcement came at the CDC's media launch of its 2017 poster and program of activities. Chairman Ricardo Adams stated that Vincy Mars 2017 will be an extraordinary season, noting a great emphasis will be placed on the Carnival's 40th anniversary celebrations. Outlining plans to enhance the quality of the CDC's hosted events, Adams stated that the 31-year-old Miss Carnival show will not be on the 2017 Carnival calendar and has been replaced by an event dubbed EVER 4.0, which he said will be considered as the official 40th anniversary event.
I confirm tonight that we no longer, for this year, we will not have a Miss Carnival show. And we have decided that this is the opportune time for us to look at the Miss Carnival show, look at rebranding, restructuring, reorganizing the show. And we're going to use the opportunity of our 40th birthday to be able to do that, because Miss Carnival show will be replaced by Evo 4.0 for this year, which is our 40th birthday party. As you recognize, when you turn 40, it is a significant time in your life. And we are going to take what has been the best of Vincy Mas for the last 40 years and package it into our Vincy Mas 40th birthday party, Evolution 40, which is named Evo 4.0.
Adams further outlined the addition of new events, which he said will be keeping in tune with the enhancement of Vincy Mas, famously dubbed the hottest carnival in the Caribbean.
Ms. SVG now has a new committee with renewed energy, headed by a former Miss SVG, Ms. LaFern Fraser. You will also notice that we have introduced a soca semifinals. And that soca semifinals is something that people have been calling for, and it's an event that we intend to take outside of Victoria Park and turn it into a picnic-style event where people can come early and bring more members of the family than they would otherwise have brought if they were going to Victoria Park. We have the traditional junior shows, which will happen during the week. And again, as I said, we're going to focus on improving the quality of those. We're going to make them more exciting. We're going to change the names of them to make them more catchy so that we can attract the younger folks to the Victoria Park.
Noting that a special emphasis will be placed on targeting the youth, the CDC chairman promised an aggressive marketing campaign for the upcoming festival, adding that there will be a heavier presence of the CDC on various social media outlets.
We are going to work extensively on our Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, and developing Pinterest accounts. We are going to focus on dynamic outreach marketing. In addition to that, we need to reach the younger folks. And in order to reach the younger folks, we must use the media that we use, and we must use the language that we use. And therefore, you will notice that we have introduced this year on our Vincy Mas 40th anniversary logo, we've introduced hashtags.
In stating that Vincy Mas 2017 will not be business as usual, Minister of Tourism and Culture Cecil Sesmaki said the government has allocated additional funds to host a bigger and better carnival.
The government has led from in front, and in our discussions from the level of the ministry and the CDC, the government has committed some additional funds this year to allow the CDC to put on additional activities as we celebrate. And that is why you've heard from Mr. Ambrose and from the chairman of these additional activities that we would have this year.
Minister McKee further urged the radio stations to assist in promoting the country's festival by playing strictly Vincy music at an early period.
Engage the radio stations and ask them from the month of February if they can set aside 2 hours or 1 program per day to play Vincy music and Vincy music only, concentrating on the particular decades that the focus will be on.
Vincy Mas 2017 is expected to be launched on Saturday, May 6th and will culminate on Tuesday, July 11th. Nolisha Miller, The Evening News.
Aimed at conducting a readiness assessment for movement towards electric mobility in SVG. The JIF UNDP promoting access to clean energy services in St. Vincent and the Grenadines project, PACES, earlier today commenced a 2-day stakeholders workshop. The workshop is held in collaboration with the GIZ through the Renewable Energy and Energy Efficiency Technical Assistance, a program with support from the Energy Program of the CARICOM Secretariat. We hear more on this program from Nikita Tony.
Over the next 2 days, a number of local stakeholders will be involved in an electric mobility workshop as the GEF-UND Promoting Access to Clean Energy Services in SVG PACES project and the Energy Unit, with assistance from GIZ and the CARICOM Secretariat, evaluate findings on the state of affairs in SVG as it relates to e-mobility and what is needed to facilitate such a transition here. Pointing out that e-mobility is one of the most promising ways to reduce pollution and greenhouse gases emissions, head of the Energy Unit, Ellsworth Dakin, highlighted that in realization that road, air, and marine transportation provide an essential service which enables economic and social development, the introduction of measures that conserve transport fuels and increase efficiency of their use can provide long-term economic and environmental benefits to SVG.
The importation of vehicles has increased by 93% between 2008 and 2015. With a population of approximately 109,000 people, we have just over 20,000 registered vehicles, that is cars and trucks. This accounts for about 1 in every 5 persons. The government is honored to have Siemens here with us to share their experience and to assist with our energy transportation transition strategy. I am particularly excited because I'm an avid supporter of German technology, specifically German cars. And I believe unequivocally that this workshop will be a success.
Dakin noted that in light of the fact that internal combustion type vehicles will continue to be used, there is a need for the setting of efficient, environmental and cost-effective transportation policies, as seen through the government's initiatives to seek out fossil fuel alternatives.
We in St. Vincent must therefore take advantage of our small land size and short distance range, which can support the electric vehicle market. We must examine and encourage through policies and procurement schemes and subsidies the electric vehicle transition. Charging stations are an essential part of encouraging people to buy electric vehicles. And given our simple and small road network, I believe that infrastructure costs would be insignificant. We must study the macroeconomics of this transition and consider through policies and tax incentives ways to encourage the market. Public awareness therefore becomes a crucial step to enable this transition.
Noting that the GIZ RETA program is currently working to develop a framework for the transition to e-mobility in the region, GIZ representative Ken Aldonza stated that his organization is pleased to support this country's transition efforts.
We also acknowledge the work of private sector interests and are willing to form collaborative partnerships with all private and public sector institutions that are working in this area. Foster a shift away from the dependence on fossil fuels by encouraging the obvious synergies between energy efficiency, renewable energy development, and electric vehicles. Therefore, an increase in the penetration of EVs in a market has to go hand in hand with achieving national energy efficiency goals and the development of electricity production from indigenous renewable energy resources. The Caribbean can be a global foreigner in this regard.
The workshop will focus on the level of prioritization within the national energy strategy and alignment of stakeholder objectives, as well as e-mobility value chains, ecosystem design, and possible business models. Nikita Tony reporting for SVG-TV News.